Welcome to our webinar today. My name's Bob Stewart. This is my friend Kevin, and we're going to talk about some tactics to get more leads and more kind of an ROI out of your business every time you take a listing. So I'm going to give people a minute to get in here. It is right at the top of the hour. Hi, Myra. Rhonda, good to see you. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. And as I'm sharing my screen, why don't you guys go down and I'll kind of do the same thing. Find the chat area. Find the chat area. And hi, everyone. There it is. Kevin found it. I found it. Renee found it. Mira found it. Thank you, guys. Just check in for me, Sherry. Appreciate you doing that. Where are you guys at? Where are you joining us from today? I'm up in funny enough, Kevin, sunny Bellingham, Washington, which in March, that's those days are far and few between here in Washington State. Sherry's in Ottawa, Ontario. Hi, Renee in the Lehigh Valley, Virginia Beach. Mira, Kevin, you're down there in Austin, Texas. I know it's beautiful out today, but you did just kind of bunker down against some tornadoes, some like really high winds coming through there recently, right?
Yeah, we were talking about that a little bit ago. Central Texas, Houston, everybody's getting a little taste of it, but we're all safe.
This is the price we pay for the emergence of spring, I think, right? Phoenix, Sarah Struck goes, bad weather, what's that? Her bad weather idea of bad weather is 115 in the summer. I know it does get hot in the summer there, Sarah. I lived in Mesa for a couple years. All right, let's get my screen shared here. Who else slipped in? Hi, Melinda and Katie, Jennifer. Some people joined us while we were chatting about where you guys are from. The Emerald Isle of North Carolina. I bet that is beautiful country. All right, I'm going to pull up my screen, and we are going to do me a favor. One more maybe check in here. I'm curious. I do see some names that I recognize, but I'm curious, are you a Brivity client right now? Or are you maybe just thinking about Brivity? Or maybe you're like, I don't know, I'm just here to learn something. Like, I don't give a rip about Brivity. I just want to learn how to get more every time I take a listing. Just learning. Awesome, Sherry. Welcome. Glad to have you. So some of these things we're going to talk about are tools that are like particular to Brivity. Some of them there's other, like competitors to Brivity, I guess, that offer these things. Definitely not the only folks, but I'm going to share with you guys some tactics, some tricks, some things. Mira, awesome. Jennifer, welcome. I'm going to share with you guys some things that our teams use. And when I say our teams, Brivity is owned by a gentleman named Ben Kinney, and Ben Kinney is partners with another guy named Chris Suarez in a real estate business called Place. And Place operates, we partner with we're up to 110 businesses around the country, including my mom. Kevin, you know this. My mom is a Place partner in Olympia, Washington. And these Place businesses, they collectively, they'll sell 7,000 or 8,000 houses this year. It's a lot. We got some really high performing teams leveraging and utilizing the Brivity software stack. And so we're going to talk about some of these tools today that our teams, they're doing this right now today, Kevin, in the office across the hall from me. I sit across right now from Ben's Bellingham team, kind of his hub operation. They'll do 450 transactions this year, and a bunch of them will come from some of these tactics that we're going to talk about every time they take a listing. And Myra, Sherry, Jennifer, like, are you guys in one of these listings or these markets like Kevin is? Kevin, you're down there in Austin, Texas. Like, listings are hard to come by, right? Yeah. Like, we don't need to market our listings or do a whole bunch of this stuff we're going to talk about to sell the listing, Kevin. Not today, right? These listings, if you price them right, they're flying off the shelves in multiple offers. And it's a super competitive market. And in a lot of our markets, it's a very limited quantity of inventory. So we are not here today to talk about, like, these are tactics to help you sell your listings, right? Like, but we still, even in these crazy markets where we don't need to market the property to sell the listings, there's two things that we deploy a lot of these tactics for, Kevin. It's to generate leads, prospects for our business later, and it's to impress other sellers that are potentially looking at that house that we have listed and thinking, you know, if they get what they listed it for, like I might sell, or wow, there's a couple homes for sale here in the area. Which agent do I want to pick to list my house? Right? For us, it's just as much about kind of showcasing or
Being as the local expert.
yeah, being that person that wows the neighbors when we list the house in their neighborhood, right? Because again, we don't have to like bend over backwards to get these things to sell. Right now in most of your markets, yeah, Mira says low inventory, selling in less than a day. All right. Sharing my screen. I'm gonna go a little full screen here. I should put your photo on this thing, Kevin. You're way better looking than me. But sorry, you guys got me this time. All right, so let's start with the quickly signs. So some of you guys probably use flyers on your, out at your sign, right? And so when you do that, what ends up happening, Kevin, is, the second day after you've listed it, your seller's calling you. They're like, Kevin, get your butt out here. There's no more flyers in here. You don't know who took those things, for all you know, Kevin. One of the, the neighborhood kids ran off with those and used them at the park to start a bonfire last night to do s'mores or something, right? Like, and we don't get any information. When somebody walks by and grabs that flyer out of a deal, we don't know who they were, right? We're not right there behind the flyer box popping out. Hey, what's your name? What's your phone number? Like, so we use it's called Quickly. And what Quickly is, it's just a text code, and it connects into the MLS, Kevin, automatically. So we go out and get a sign made. This example here is from a friend of ours, Corey Permack, who's actually works at Brivity now, but he designed this style. And today you can get this style of sign through our partner Brandco. But this is a Quickly sign that allows a consumer driving by my listing, right? Now this goes next to my main listing sign, Kevin. You got your listing sign. It's got Kevin's beautiful face on there. It's got his phone number if they wanted to call him, right? But then right next to that, he's got this other kind of ancillary sign, auxiliary sign that lets them know, hey, if you want to see the price and get all the photos, just text properties to 59559. Now, Kevin, your keyword might be text Kevin or text Austin or text ATX, right? Everybody's going to have their own unique keyword on our team up here in Bellingham, the Ben Kinney team in Bellingham. Our keyword's Ben Kinney. My mom's keyword is South because she's the Ben Kinney team South Sound. So her keyword is South. Text South to 59559. Now what happens? Consumer drives by and texts. We identify, Kevin, based on the GPS location of their phone, what properties are near them, and we serve up listings that are right there near them, right out of the MLS feed. Not just your listings, by the way, Kevin. We'll show them that one for sure. We'll float that one up to the very top so they can, because that's generally the one they were standing in front of when they texted. They're telling me your keyword's Dream Key. So when they text Dream Key off one of Kevin's signs, we show them Kevin's listing right there that they're standing in front of. And then we also show them some neighboring listings, the one down the street that they might be interested in, right? And in exchange, Kevin, for showing them all those details from your MLS, we get their phone number and we give it to you, Kevin. We go, hey, here's somebody that was standing out in front of your listing. Maybe they'd be interested in buying it. Again, you don't need them to buy that listing, Kevin. Someone's going to buy that listing in this market anyway, right? We'll help them find another listing. Or, Kevin, often these are other people that live in that neighborhood that are curious about what that house is worth. A lot of times our next listing will come from somebody that inquired on the listing that we currently have.
The same people that took them out of our box, because they're the ones always walking by, right? So they're the neighbors that have picked it up, and they're the ones that we're going to be talking to next. They also see that we are doing something that no other agent is doing in that area. This is a very unique sign, and it just really displays this house for sale with those additional signage.
Now, I get people all the time, Kevin, and they go, yeah, but my listing, like Mira just said, my listings are selling in less than a day. Like, my sign is out there for 24 hours and the thing's pending. Awesome. Does your sign sit out there while it's pending? My neighbor right now, Kevin, my neighbor just listed his house 2 weeks ago, 3 days, basically over the weekend, it was pending. The sign's still out there. Sign's been out there. It's been pending for a week or a week and a half. The sign's still out there.
Yeah.
Now, my neighbor's agent doesn't have a quick lease sign. So he's not, and the flyer box is empty. So he's not like, there's no more prospects coming off of his sign. But in our world, with the quick lease sign out, those 30 or 45 days when it's pending, we're going to pick up a couple of extra leads just by having that sign out when it's pending, right? It's awesome. They text that thing and we'll let them know it's pending. But we got other houses that we can help them look at.
Yeah, those agents that have those pendings, their sellers want them to have the pending sign on their properties. No one's going to inquire about it because it is pending with a sign on it. You're just losing all that. Only people that are going to see it is literally those that have seen it already.
Yeah. We get on average for every sign that we might have out about 2 inquiries. And what we find is 1 in 4 of our inquiries on our teams, we track this pretty close, is a seller prospect, right? Our script when we call these quickly leads sounds something like, hey, we saw that you texted about one of our properties, and people normally do that for 1 of 2 reasons. Either they're trying to find a house to buy, or they live in the area and they're curious what their own home might be worth. Which one are you? And so 1 in 4 of the people that answer our calls when we're out there prospecting our quickly leads will say, oh, I live in the area and I was just curious. Those are our listing prospects of the future, Gavin. Those people that we started a relationship with today because we just listed a house in their neighborhood and they were curious about what we were doing, how we were marketing it, what it was listed for, what the photos looked like, right? This is they're interviewing us right away, right out of the gates. They're interviewing us to potentially list their house 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, Kevin. Okay, we don't just use quickly that out at the location, although it's the primary place that we use quickly. We actually use quickly on the portals. And so we will go, if a lot of our place teams are Keller Williams based, and so they can go into the KWLS and adjust or edit the description of the property in the KWLS. But if you're not, you can go do this at Zillow. If you have a Zillow profile, you can claim your listings. You can go adjust or edit the descriptions. Same thing on realtor.com. We will go and in the description on the portal. Now, you can't do this on the MLS, but at the portal level, you can go in, if you can get control of that listing and be able to edit it, we will change the description. We will add at the footer, the end of the description, something to the effect of to contact the listing agent directly or to schedule a private tour of this home, text Dream Key in Kevin's case, or Ben Kinney to 59559. Now, Kevin, I very clearly remember the first Brivity client that said, I'm going to try this. I'm going to do this. His name was Jason Secor in Plymouth, Michigan. Jason Matt in Plymouth, Michigan. And Jason said, hey, I need a keyword because I want to use it on Zillow. And I'm like, what? Why would you do that? Like, that seems weird to me that somebody would be on Zillow, or they've got all these options on Zillow. They can click the button or call the agent, or like, why would they be on Zillow on their computer, on their phone, and then like leave there and go text? And he's like, I don't know. I'm just going to put it out there, see what happens. So about 3 months later, Kevin, he called me back and he said, hey, I hate to be the I told you so guy, but I'm getting like a listing every single month from having my call to action out there, my quickly call to action out there on the portals. And I was like, really? Like, people text that thing instead of just, calling the phone number they see on Zillow? And he said, I think that people that have been looking for a while and they've submitted a few forms here and there, Kevin, are shell-shocked because every time they do that, 5 agents call them, right? They're on realtor.com and they submit a question or something. All of a sudden, they got all these real estate agents like descending on them. And he said, I think that they just want to talk to the listing agent. And so we put that to contact the listing agent directly or schedule a private tour of the home. Text Ben Kinney to 59559. Another the kind of call to action. Maybe we'll see it here. No, we'll see it later. There's another call to action that we'll use when we do some that's like to schedule a private tour or discuss special financing. Text Ben Kinney to 59559. This works, guys. This works. Like Zillow gets tons of visitors, right? Millions of visitors a month. And some of them, they just want to get right to that listing agent, because last time they submitted a form online, they got 7 buyer's agents calling them from HomeLight or wherever it was, right? We get lots of leads doing this. And for us on our teams, this is a VA that goes out after the thing's gone, and there's a step in the process inside of Brivity, inside of an auto plan of a transaction that asks somebody, hey, go over to Zillow or go to the KWLS, adjust the description, add this wording. All right, we do postcards. Now, some of our teams in this market have stopped running the just listeds because they sell, like literally our houses are under contract, Kevin, before they're even, the postcards are even able to get into the mailboxes of, of the neighboring houses, right? So we've dialed this back a little bit, unless it's, in a price point where we know it might last a little bit longer, or we're doubling down on these, on the just solds, right? Because a lot of the houses you guys are selling today are breaking records. It's the highest price per square foot in that neighborhood ever. It was 12% over the ask price. Like there's all these, great stories of how, much houses are selling for. Yeah, Justin, that is not, real quick, I'll just go back here. This is not in the MLS directly. We do not put it, yours won't. I don't know who yours is, but there's a high likelihood that you can't do that in the MLS. So we will go do it either directly in Zillow, or if you're a Keller Williams agent, you can do it in the KWLS, which then like 24 to 36 hours later will feed that edited description back over to Zillow. But yeah, not in the MLS. So these just listed or just sold postcards, the way that they work, we've got a tool. I'll show it to you really quick because I'm going to show it to you again a little bit later here. We've got a tool called Brevity Marketer, and Brevity Marketer is automatically tapped into your MLS. So every time you take a new listing, or every time a listing goes to sold in the MLS, it will dial up a postcard campaign, just sitting back here waiting for you to send it. You can choose to send it or not. You can easily come in and edit this thing, right? So here's a just sold campaign. Like when this property sold in the MLS, it just, boom, it had a postcard campaign back here ready for Cody. How? Because we know what Cody's MLS agent IDs are. We know all the agents on his team. And so every time they sell a property, we queue up a postcard that he can choose to send or not. Now, there's a couple of ways that he can choose to send this postcard out. He can go draw on a map and make some selections. Like he could go draw on a map, Kevin, around that house. He could say, I only want to send to people that have lived there 7 or more years. I only want to send to people that have, a maximum of 3 bedrooms, because I just sold a 3-bedroom house. And so I want to let them know I'm the 3-bedroom house specialist or whatever, right? I only want to send it to people that last bought for between 300,000 and 500,000, because now I know their houses are all worth 8 to $1 million, or whatever it is, because they bought them 7 years ago in this crazy market where appreciation is just over the moon. Like, and I can dial in a map who I want, or I can just go, you know what? I bet those guys at Brivity are guys and gals are pretty smart. Maybe their algorithm, and we've got a way that you can come in here and just use AI. Okay, you can use AI, artificial intelligence, and it will figure out the best X number of houses to drop that postcard at, Kevin. So let's say Kevin said, just sold my house here at Stony Kirk Road, right? I want to send this out to 300 recipients. Awesome. The cost is either $59, $99, or $1.29, depending on the size of the postcard, right? It's done USPS first class mail. Kevin. So we track it all. We know if you get returns, we give you a credit back for any postcards that get returned when you use one of our lists. But we go find the best 300 houses to send that postcard to, Kevin. That postcard promoting the highest price per square foot, ever in Fairwood Greens or whatever neighborhood your house is in. Which means, Kevin, it will not land in the mailbox of the house 3 doors down that just bought like 2 months ago. Right, Kevin? They just moved in the neighborhood 2 months ago. Why would we want to waste your marketing dollars on that person who's not thinking about buying or selling for 5 to 7 years?
And it's not something they would keep. So that's going straight in the trash.
They're like couches and curtains is what these people have on the brain because they just moved in 2 months ago, right?
Couches and curtains.
Couches and curtains, my friend. We want the person that's been living there for 7 years, that's seeing all the neighbors' houses and going, man, I don't know, honey, I think it's time for us to downgrade or upgrade or, get a little bit further out away from the traffic or whatever it is, right? Let's take advantage of the equity we have right now and we can move further out because now we've got a job that allows us to work remote, right? Let our algorithm determine who the best people to get your message. Kevin, you'll recognize this name. There's an agent named Mark Spain who, like circa 2009, was the #1 Keller Williams team, and still has a massive operation down out of the Atlanta, Georgia area. And I had a chance to interview Mark Spain on a panel talking about direct mail marketing. And he built his business, the largest business at Keller Williams at that time, where he was doing about 800 or 900 transactions a year back in 2009 or 10. He built it on direct mail. And I asked, somebody I think in the crowd asked him, how long should direct mail? And he basically said, you should be prepared to do direct mail for a whole year with no expectation of a return on that investment. He's like, you will probably get one and get some, but there shouldn't be any expectations. But back then, Kevin, it was every door direct. We just sent it out to everybody, right? And then we just kind of crossed our fingers that it would land on the house we've gotten better at this because the data that we have now, we can target more specifically. So before, where it might have taken you 1,000 houses to find the 300 that would really, the message would resonate with, we were able to just target those 300 houses, right? This stuff works, you guys. It does take some time occasionally, right? If you don't get a seller reaching out to you on your first postcard campaign saying, hey, I see you sold my neighbor's house and I've never heard of you before. It's the first thing I've ever seen from you, but I'd like you to sell mine. It doesn't happen that fast. Now
it's only a little time considering the amount of time it used to take. Like in 2009, do you know how much work it was to mail out a neighborhood full of postcards for a year, for 2 years? So it's effortless to do it through Brevity Marketer.
Couple of clicks, my friend, couple of clicks. And so our teams we kind of instituted this, we're going to, at a minimum, we're going to send 100 postcards when we take a listing or when we sell a listing, right? So on some of the, some of the different price points will go higher than that. When we're up in that, we always kind of lean in, Kevin, to marketing when we have a move up price point. So in our world, we know, especially in the crazy markets of today, right, where most of you are at, when we have a home in that especially that first move up price point. So in Bellingham, Washington right now, that first time home buyer price point, Kevin, is it's up to 500,000, right? But it is what it is. But if you had a listing at let's say 750, 800, right, in that range, it's very rare in our market that somebody buys their first house at 800,000, right? They generally are going to sell a 400,000 or 500,000 or 600,000 to then go buy that move up 800,000. So when we have that $800,000 listing, we're going to double down all of our marketing efforts because we want to find people that want to buy that house that have a house to sell. It's a really big deal for us. All right, next up, the open house registration page is inside of your Brivity website. So we are big proponents of open houses. Again, in this market, we don't need to do open houses, Kevin. We don't need to, but it's one of the best places for us to find people in the neighborhood who are thinking about listing their house, because they'll drop by and see what the neighbor's house looks like, right? The nosy neighbor. They're not a nosy neighbor because they're nosy. They're a nosy neighbor because they want to see what's happening with that listing, because maybe they're thinking about listing theirs. They want to see how that agent is showcasing, that product, right? Ultimately, the house that you're selling is your product, and that those neighbors want to know, like, what is this agent doing that's any different?
I've never seen higher traffic in open houses than I have in this market. Yeah, I mean, it is, if you want to collect a lot of buyers' names and addresses and information and get it in a valid format, this is the tool to use, because now's the time to do open houses.
Yeah. You have a listing that's in that first move up price point in your market.
Absolutely.
Open house the snot out of that thing, like, right? Like and again, we don't need to do it to sell it, but we pick up more buyers. Some of those buyers are going to have to sell something else to move to our move up price point. And there will be sellers in that crowd that comes in, Kevin. It's why our open house script sounds a heck of a lot like when somebody calls in on our Quickly or texts in about our Quickly, right? Our open house script is, hey, thanks for coming into our open house today, Kevin. I wouldn't know your name generally when I'd be giving you the script, but hey, thanks for coming to our open house. Listen, people normally come in for one of two reasons. They're trying to find somewhere to live, or they live in the area and they're curious what their own house is worth. Which one are you? Right? Identify yourself, sir. Are you a buyer, or do you live nearby and you might be my next seller? Now, when somebody registers on one of your open house pages utilizing your Brivity website, it's going to drop them right into your CRM automatically. We could have a listing alert. A listing alert will get set up automatically for them. It'll start sending them houses in that same city that they were in, right? So whatever open house they're visiting at, let's say it's in Austin, Kevin. And let's say your listing was listed at 800,000. It'll set up a listing alert in Austin, plus or minus 20%, Kevin. So it'll go down 160, up 160, and they'd get a listing alert in your market from 740 to 960 or whatever that is. You can come back after the fact and adjust it if you needed to, right? Because you walk them through and you talk to them and you know that their price range is, max 900. You go back and adjust that thing. But Kevin, it won't be on a it's not like at the end of your open house, you'll have one of those pieces of paper that's got all the scribbly names written on it and you can't read half of them. And then it ends up under your seat, right, Kevin? And 3 weeks later, you pull it out and you go, oh, there's all those leads from that open house 3 weeks ago. Right, that thing's those leads are gonna go right into your CRM, so you can nurture them. So you can reach out to that person who, when you gave them the script, they said, "Oh, I live in the area. We were just curious."
What I love is Brevity actually verifies the address, their physical address, when it brings them into the system. So now we know the person that just showed up in our open house has given us a valid or invalid email address. We just double check with them.
Yeah, love that. Love that. Open house registration. Guys, look, if you don't do open houses, maybe you should think about it. If you do, and you're not using something that's collecting all those people that come in's information so that you can nurture those things later, maybe you should think about it. And if you are using something, but then you have to take another step to get them into your CRM, we're trying to smooth all that out, right? We also do or offer virtual open houses. So back in, when COVID emerged 2 years ago now, like we had to make sure that we had the tools for our agents to be able to deliver virtual open houses. The funny thing is we've had agents that continue to do this today, even when COVID's gone, right? COVID changed a lot of people's behavior. People are more comfortable with Zoom. They're more comfortable watching things, watching a virtual presentation, as it were, than they were 2 years ago. So we give you that power to be able to go out, promote, right? Hey, this Saturday, we're going to have an open house. We're going to be walking through live. You can come talk to us on our Zoom if you want to, right? And we give you a way to promote and collect signups for a virtual open house. If you're so inclined, look, you're out there doing the open house live anyway. Why not throw yourself up on your Facebook Live or on a Zoom and spend 30 minutes walking somebody that can't physically get to that house that day through the house? All right, this is Justin Ball, Amy, Gail Sussman, Jana. How many of you guys would just assume? Now, some people will say, no, I don't want to do this. But how many of you would just assume go find the buyer for your next listing? Like, Kevin?
Yeah.
I mean, they're giving you 6%, Kevin. I know you. I know that you are a generous individual. Like, you are more than willing to help a friend, help a neighbor. But why give away half of your commission?
Right.
Like, let's just go find the buyer for that thing, right? That's why the seller really hired you to go find the buyer. So what we do, yeah, Justin says, let's take it all. So that, Justin, and I assume you say that so that you can have more to then turn around and share, right? Back with your friends and your neighbors and the people that you care about. So yeah, let's take it all so that we've got more to share. Reverse prospecting in your database. So inside of Brivity, this is one of the reasons why we are so religious about getting as many people on a listing alert as possible, Kevin. We want people at some point to come to our website and just look at a few properties, even if they're not thinking about buying anytime soon. We want them to just dabble around on there, right? What would they maybe look at one day when they're thinking about buying one day, right? No, we've got some people that are engaged on our website every day, right? They're trying to find their next place to live and they're actively doing it. We've got others that will occasionally drop by to look at something that maybe caught their eye. But when we take a listing, what we do is we go into Brivity and we can run these queries against the database inside of our CRM. We can say, look, we just listed a property at $475,000 here in Bellingham. Right? Let's go on in our CRM then, Kevin. Let's go and look at everybody that's looked at a property here in Bellingham between 450 and 500,000. Right? And maybe it's 68 leads. And if it's 68 leads, we're going to direct our listing at those 68 leads. Hey, I know this is a crazy market. We just listed a property today. And if you guys want to be the first ones to get inside to see it, give you advantage on everybody else, let us know. We can show it to you today. That's the kind of messaging we aim at people that we've reverse prospected. We said, look, at some point, you got it, Justin. At some point, these people looked at a property like the one I just listed. Like, why not specifically target them? I mean, Kevin, we use this reverse prospecting when we go to land the listing too, right? During our listing presentation, we will talk to sellers about, hey, one of the things we're going to do is right when we take your listing, we're going to go into our database and we're going to call all these people that have been looking for a house just like yours.
Heck, not just talk to the sellers about it. I bring the laptop there, bring out my Brevity system, say in the last 30 days, X amount of people have looked at it. You could even show them the record. It's proof in the pudding right there.
Yeah, it's super powerful. Like, highly, highly likely no other agent has taken that angle with them, right? Everybody else is saying, hey, we're going to market the snot out of it. We're going to make sure everybody sees it. And we're like, and we're going to do all that. And we got a bunch of people looking for your house right now. We're going to call them up. We're going to invite them to come that first day and get in the house and see if they want to make an offer. So reverse prospecting your database, super powerful. I mean, look, right now, we got buyers that we're having a hard time finding them a house. Let's try to connect them with one of our listings. Like, I'd be doing this for a listing in my office that just hit today, right? I'd be reverse prospecting that because I'd love to work with Kevin. If I was in Kevin's office, I know he's a great agent. I'd love to be on the other side of helping find a buyer for his listing. We can do this with any listing that hit the market today. Go in and reverse prospect into our database and find people that, Kevin, my wife and I are looking for a house right now, like a second home or an Airbnb type of thing where we could take our boys in the summer and spend a little time on the water here in Washington State, and it's competitive. It's a hard market to buy into right now. I think anybody working with buyers knows that, no matter where you're at. And I'm set up on multiple listing alerts. I get one from my agent. I've got Redfin sending me one. I've got multiple streams of listing data coming at me. If I don't the way houses are listing right now, they're listing on a Monday or Tuesday or maybe a Wednesday, right, Kevin? They're like open over the week. There'll be an open house on the weekend, and there'll be an offer review date on Monday or Tuesday. That's just the way our market is kind of setting up right now. Not every single house is like that, but a lot of them, especially the ones that are priced in those competitive. A lot of times, if they'll price at the top of the market, they don't do all that offer review date because they realize they're probably not going to get 15 offers or 30 offers or whatever it is, right? But for whatever reason, the houses I've been looking at, that's how things are working. Now, I get these listing alerts all the time, but I'm not 100% tuned into them, Kevin. Right? They're there. I'm like, every couple days at night I'll go on and I'll look myself kind of beyond what's being sent to me, right? My email. But if my agent sent me something particular on a Monday, right when it listed, I'm much more likely to be like, wait, what? Like Kevin sent me. It wasn't a listing alert like he sends me every day with 3 or 5, 8 property. He sent me one listing and he said, hey, Bob, you should look at this property. This is a great deal. It's going to sell fast. If you guys would like to get your hat in the ring, I can help you get your hat in the ring. I would stop on Monday and look at that. What's happening to me right now, Kevin, is, things get busy, right? My wife and I have 2 small children. It's like life's happening. A lot of times it'll be 3 or 4 days that since that thing listed, we're all sit down on a Thursday night and be like, okay, I finally got a half hour to look for some houses. And I'll be like, oh, look at this one. And I'll be like, crap, it's only open on Saturday. I've got to be out there before Monday because that's when the offer review date is. Like, I'd have to reorganize my whole weekend to make this work. Man, I wish I would have known about this on Monday, right? It'd give me a little bit more time to kind of reorder my life, to get out to see that house, to be in a position to be able to make an offer by the offer review date on Monday. Like, reverse prospecting in your database and intentionally sending one listing that you think might match. It's a really, really big deal. And I think, like, we believe as an organization that for too long we've let technology, the listing alert, find the right house for our buyer, or kind of leave it to them to pick the right house out of that listing alert. We try to be a little bit more proactive, especially with like our when we have a listing, we're trying to be proactive to find that buyer on the other side. And we're super proactive with our top 5 to 10 hot buyers as well, constantly trying to find that listing that we think would be a good match for them.
We're really hoping when we send those listing alerts that they're getting those alerts and then they're being driven to our website where they're then looking and doing more activity. We don't always know that. They might have another site that they'd like to go to and find that property. When we send them that listing, we're sending it directly attached to our website. We're driving them back into our world. We're keeping them there. And then we're able to track that activity of what they're doing once they're there.
So Jennifer, when you go and send that, your new listing to them, you can then come in later. You could even come in later and say, show me everybody that's been on my website yesterday that looked at a property at this price point, and it would show you anybody that you'd sent that thing out to that came back and looked at your listing. Then you can call 3 or 5 or 6 of them and say, hey, I saw that you were, you were interested in some way in that listing I sent over yesterday. Let's get you out there to take a look. When can you meet? Right? Does Thursday at 3 work, or is a little bit later in the afternoon on Friday better? All right, Craigslist. We were massively invested in Craigslist in 2007, 8, 9. And then Craigslist made a bunch of changes, Kevin. They no more links in there, right? Or the links now are just like URLs people have to copy and paste. And for whatever reason, and look, the explosion of mobile apps and all this stuff, a lot of people just left Craigslist. Like, the number of posts in the real estate section that were being made back in 2009 versus how many are made in there today, it's like dramatically less today. we still get leads from Craigslist. We still get leads, right? We use the quickly keyword for more information, text Craigslist. We've played with, in here is where we'll use the special financing call to action, to schedule a private tour of this house or learn about our special financing options. Text Craigslist to 59559. We pick up every single lead, every single listing. We pick up a lead or two a month on Craigslist, and we've got VAs that do this, and they refresh the ad every 3 days and go out and make sure that our listings are always there. We get international buyers from Craigslist for whatever reason. They're not familiar with our Zillows and our Realtor.coms, but Craigslist is like across the board internationally. And so we see international buyers that show up through Craigslist. Ben always tells the story of like one guy he sold a house to on Craigslist that like he never met the guy. The dude flew in on his helicopter, he was like a buyer out of Vancouver. So it's good. It works. When we take a listing, we lean into it. Lots of leads. And again, we use quickly as the call to action there. It's not a link back to the website so that they can just copy the link and go there and we don't know they were there. Right? It's a keyword so that we can get that most valuable piece of information, their cell phone number. If you have somebody's cell phone number, I mean, Kevin, we can keep going after them until they're like, please leave me alone, right? What do we say? Till they buy or they die?
Yeah, well, not only do we get their cell phone number, we also get their first and last name through caller ID.
Yeah. That's a new little feature inside of Brivity, right? Where if we got all we have is a cell phone number, we'll go look it up for you really fast and try to find a name for you as well. Yeah. All right. Brevity Marketer. It's Facebook advertising made simple. I'm going to take you guys in again. Let's go back into Brevity Marketer. And let's just look around here for just a second at some of the tools that Brevity Marketer offers. And we're going to drill in on this one here, the digital ad stuff. But we got the postcards. We talked about, just listed and just sold postcards earlier. There are other types of postcards in here. There's a handwritten note card you could do. There's these new folded style postcards. They're custom. You want to do your own design and upload it in here and let our mail house take care of it for you. We can do that. This handwritten postcard, a lot of people will do that golden letter concept on there. Hey, I've got a buyer in your area, or we just listed a house and there was one. We were only able to accept one offer, but there were 25 offers, which means there's 24 more buyers looking for a house in this neighborhood. We'll do those kind of things, right? Print media. So you might see us print out an open house sign-in sheet or something. And when somebody hits that QR code, it takes them to that open house registration form that we can use from our website. Some other printable door hangers, some different stuff here, right? Maybe I was going to go knock the neighborhood, Kevin, because I had an open house coming up that weekend. I might print some door hangers out to leave around the neighborhood. But this one, I want to focus on these digital ads. So basically, I can run an ad on my listing when I just list it, when I've got an open house coming up. These are really, really popular and really effective right now. Like Kevin said, like he's never seen. Kevin, how long have you been a real estate agent? 18 years.
2014.
So 9 years.
Yeah.
8 years. We've never seen this many people in an open house, right? Let's go look at how easy it is if I took a listing today to make a just listed ad. Now, what I do is I'd click right here. I'd go find the property. Let's say it was 833 85th, right? Boom. It'd find that property. I'd hit create ad, just like that. And now it's now I'd have to connect my Facebook. If you guys, signed up with Brivity, and the first time you do, you got to connect your Facebook. Cody's was already connected. Now it pulls in the information from the MLS and it pulls in some. I made some edits in here. I went in and made this thing look like the format that we use when we run ads. So we'll use little, I don't know, I call this the flowery headline, right? Newly listed in Fairwood Greens. Let's say that was the neighborhood, right? Then we do the address, 833 85th Street in Birmingham, Alabama. Then we tell them I call these the bona fides, Kevin. It's 4 bedrooms, it's 3 baths, 2,350 square feet. And then we give them the price. Why do we give them the price? I would have for a long time run ads without the price, thinking it's just a reason for them to click through. The reality is when we give them the price, they still click through. And today, with the inventory so tight, I think it makes a lot of sense to show them the price as a potential kind of deflector from somebody, Kevin, that wants to rent or really has any business, in that price range, right? They can still click through. But I use that as a little bit of a disqualifier today. Let's try to disqualify some people from clicking through on this thing because we know we don't want that lead, right? We've got the pre-made headlines. You just then come in here and select the photos. Now we pull the photos in from the MLS, right? Them photos are Brevity Marketers hooked up to your MLS. It's pulling all that data in automatically. So we'd go in here and select the 10 photos. Right? And I already did that. It's a super easy process and we can drag and drop them and move them around. I could add some tags if I wanted so that when those leads registered and came in, they would there'd be a Facebook or right, something like that. Facebook or Birmingham or something.
Yep, the area. And these tags could also be used, of course, Bob, to route leads in our CRM. They can be used to follow the lead, to fire off different communications. So your tags will always be probably unique to the team, but boy, they can be very.
There's a lot of power in them, right? Like we can route leads, like he said. So maybe if I was going to run this was Jesse's listing, I put the tag Jesse on there, and then I go into my CRM and I say, anytime a lead comes in with the tag Jesse, route that thing over to Jesse. Pull out photos only for active listings or both sold ones. Jennifer, if the question is like, do we have all the photo data around actives and solds? The answer is depending on your MLS. So like for actives, yeah, we'll always have all the images. Some MLSs, once the property goes to sold, remove from the IDX feed every image, but the front image, the first one. So it's about half of the MLSs out there. Once the property's sold, they pull the images back. We're not allowed to use them anymore, and you're just left with one. The other half of the MLSs have the sold images in there. So what I would tell you to do is go to your website and go find if you have the MLS number of a sold property on your website, you can go to your website and do BKT, or let's say this is my website /MLS / like the MLS number, right? So 1903355 is the MLS number of a listing on their website. And so this is an active listing. So I'd have to find a sold one. But if I went and did that, mywebsite.com/MLS/ the MLS number on a sold listing, however many photos you see on that sold listing would be what your MLS allows us to keep. So again, about half of them say, oh, sorry, this thing's sold, no more photos. And they literally like rip them out of the feed. We don't even have them anymore. The other half allow us to use them. And so you'll see them there, and it'll be a function of what you see in Brevity Marketer. It'll be a function of what your MLS's requirements are. But once we have that ad, we just come down here and set a budget, hit purchase, and off we go. These things, and I'll cancel this because this is actually a pending listing. And Cody doesn't want me running a bunch of ads out of his account, but I will show you guys. When they run ads, they spent $50 here and they got 39 leads on a 3-day campaign. All these leads are in the CRM. All these leads got set up on on a listing alert automatically to send similar properties to the one they'd engaged. All these leads had an auto plan fire off on them and communication start happening on behalf of Cody and his team. This is by far inside of Brivity. We have like 5,000 Brivity clients. This is the most underutilized function. The value on these leads today, getting them at $1.50, $2, even $2.50 a lead is staggering. Absolutely staggering, especially when you have the tools behind you to help convert these things. The listing alerts, the auto plans, our dialer, and the ability to get in there, Kevin, and just call these people. I mean, ultimately, if we want to convert anything in our business, our past clients, our sphere, our leads, we have to call them. Jennifer, yeah, this stuff works in Canada as well. In fact, Jennifer, my Canadian friend, the team that builds this is based in Edmonton. Roberto and our team up there based in Edmonton. Jesse, our expert on this, who will train you guys one-on-one if you want to get in here and really lean into using this. He's up in Edmonton. So he's got the awesome accent and all that for you up there so yeah, this absolutely works in Canada. What doesn't right now is our direct mail postcard stuff, but the Facebook stuff does. We're still trying to find a distribution partner up in Canada to send all of our mail out. Okay. Facebook, please. It's one of it's just, we make it really easy. And if you go get that short little class with Jesse, you can be generating leads at a ridiculously affordable clip. It's in many ways, I wish I would have had this years ago, right? It didn't exist years ago. It exists now. All right. The last thing I'll tell you is if all of that, all the stuff I've talked about, you're like, I don't know, I'm busy. I'm calling people. I'm selling houses. I'm negotiating. I'm out there. You could just leverage our experts and let us do a lot of this for you, right? So we can create these ads. We can have consistent, ongoing advertising happening for you. We've got a product called Brevity Connect where we can go in and set up retargeting and remarketing, where literally everybody in your database is consistently and constantly being retargeted, meaning if they've ever been on your website and looked at any kind of a property, we retarget them with listings similar to the properties that they were looking on your website. The next time they go on Facebook, if they were just Kevin, they were on your website, they were looking in Austin at $800,000, which these days in Austin is probably like a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bathroom, 800 square feet. But it was 800,000. We're going to follow them around Facebook, Instagram, any of the network of sites and apps that are powered by Facebook's advertising platform. We're going to follow them around with $800,000 houses in Austin. And everywhere they go, just like those stupid pair of Nikes will not stop following me, Kevin. And they're basically forcing me to buy them. I'm powerless at this point. That's what we'll just follow that person around. And then we'll remarket them as well, which means in Google's network and throughout the Google kind of ad ecosystem, which by the way, between Facebook and Google, 99% of the ads you see out there are coming from one of those two giants, right? Kevin, if they go to MSNBC because they lean left, Kevin will be there. They go to Fox News because they lean right. We don't care. You'll be there. Wall Street Journal, Kevin's like, hey, I'm on the Wall Street Journal. New York Times, Kevin's there, right? They're going to see Kevin everywhere, everywhere they go. When he calls them eventually, right, because he's in there prospecting in his database, he reverse prospects them because he's got his next listing and it kind of matches some stuff they've been looking at. They're going to go, yeah, no, actually, I recognize, why do I know you? Or how do I recognize you? And you're like, I'm everywhere. And they're like, you're the guy on the New York Times. You advertise everywhere. And Kevin's like, no, I just advertise everywhere to you, sir. Right? So you can leverage our experts. And if you're a current Brevity client or you're not, and you need leads, pull your cell phone out right now. You can text need leads to 59559. So you're going to send a message to the number 59559. The body of the message would be need leads. And it'll just send you back a little link to a calendar that you can book on to talk to one of our team about how we might be able to help, put a steady, consistent flow of prospects in front of you. Now, if any of this stuff we talked about in the last 53 minutes, the Quickly stuff or the direct mail marketing postcards or the Facebook ad tool, right? The reverse prospecting mechanisms. If any of that stuff's of interest to you, we've got a price point on Brivity that fits your business. And I don't know what your business is. Amy, Jennifer, Joanna, okay? Dolce, Rhonda, I don't know I don't know how many people you have on your team. I don't know if you're an individual agent. I don't know if you sold 8 houses last year, if you sold 80, or if you sold 500 as a team. We've got a level that will fit you. If you're interested in talking, and the pricing goes from the very low end, $99 if you just had our CRM, all the way up to, I got 25 people on my team and I need all the stuff, right? It gets more expensive. But you can text platform to 59559 if you'd like to talk to somebody about the different options that we have available here at Brivity. Text platform to 59559. Utilizing
Quickly. Get to see what
right?
that's all about.
Utilizing Quickly. And what do we say around here, Kevin? We like to eat our own dog food. Like we're constant. We use these tools in our real estate business for our place teams. We use these in our Brivity business. Why? Because they work. They work. Right? They work. All right, listen. I hope that, we'll send the link out, Rhonda. They'll send the recording of this, I think, tomorrow. They'll get it turned around. Dave will get it turned around tonight, and our team will send it out to you tomorrow. We do have 5 minutes. If you guys have any questions about anything Brivity, about anything that Ben Kinney's place teams do, about anything around how we kind of lean into some of these systems and models to generate more prospects for our business, Calvin and I are here for the next 4 or 5 minutes. It's been a while since I've sat in your guys' seat. I had my real estate license many, many moons ago. Calvin, licensed real estate agent. Calvin still today is out there selling houses, and he's you're not a part-time anything, Calvin. You're one of those guys that's just like all in always. So you're a full-time Brivity trainer, and you're a full-time real estate agent. You even have a job where in the wintertime you hang Christmas lights, and you've got a little operation that goes around Austin and hangs everybody's Christmas lights. So
yeah.
Do you ever rest?
Sometimes 6 hours a night.
6 hours a night. Look at this guy. He's like a friggin' Superman over here. All right. Ron, Renee, Sarah, do you guys have Terry, any questions about any of this stuff that we covered today? Kevin, somebody told me once I'm probably not an introvert. I don't know, but we're supposed to wait when we ask a question. Like, hey, does anybody have any questions? We're supposed to wait like 20 seconds or something way too long for me.
You have improved, and I know you've been working on it.
For the introverts to kind of formulate the thought, put it together, and be like, all right, this is my question. So
did good.
Rhonda, thank you for joining us. Renee, appreciate it. Again, reach out anytime, support at Brivity. I'm Bob at benkinney.com. I don't have a Brivity email. I hide behind the Ben Kinney one. So Joanna, you're welcome. Renee, Rhonda, you guys have questions? Dolce, Jennifer, Kimberly, hi. There's Kevin. I'm Bob at Ben Kinney. Mira, you guys have an awesome afternoon. Have a great rest of your week. Kevin, enjoy. Stay safe down there, my friend. Hopefully the high winds are all gone for you guys.
We're good.
Sarah Struck, we'll talk to you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.